An explosion at the Fordo plant, nuclear plant in Iran. It's very difficult to know exactly what is going on, of course, but it does seem there was an explosion. Who did it? Probably plucky little Luxembourg. Who do you think? I don't know. It could have been an accident. Certainly, nuclear scientists in Iran, the best, are reluctant to be involved in the program. There have been assassinations of nuclear scientists. Some of them have left for the West. Others won't participate. So they're probably getting the second level now, the second league, the second division of nuclear scientists. This will dissuade an even larger number of people. But the Iranian regime does continue. Now, we've had Reza Kahlili on the show a couple of times, at least in the past. He's a former member of Iran's Revolutionary Guard. He left, he joined, worked for the CIA. He's heavily disguised, he's voice modulated too, because, well, he's obviously in constant danger. He joins us now from somewhere. Welcome to you, Reza.
Well, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be back on your program.
Thank you. Now, this explosion, the Iranians say it's all Western propaganda, but do you know any more about it? It did happen, it seems. Do you think it was an accident or was it some form of sabotage?
Well, the information that came from Iran through a source was that the explosion took place on the 21st of January. Further information provided detailed out that a team of North Koreans arrived in Iran on the 15th and 17th of January. There were 36 of them, technicians and military officers. And then 16 of them were stationed at Fordo facility, which is a central nuclear enrichment plant in the Iranian nuclear program. They were to start work on the newly installed 6 cascades of 174 centrifuges, feeding uranium gas into them and bringing them online. And now, the explosion apparently took place around 11:30 in the morning Tehran time. Further information, I put out details out how it took place, and that from there on, over 200 were trapped per the source at the Fordo plant. The regime has made headway as of yesterday in making progress in getting into the site through the smaller elevator. But it seems from the log that several explosions concurrently took place, which then hints to an act of sabotage.
Now, who would be responsible? I mean, and that's not such a naive question, because it's not just Israel that's at risk, of course. Some of the Arab states, Saudi Arabia is very nervous about Iran's ambitions. France, Britain, United States, German intelligence, all of these people are involved. What do you think?
Well, I think, and this is just my opinion, I think that there is a massive effort, rightly so, by those concerned about world stability and global peace, that the Iranians don't get the bomb. This regime in Iran should not access the bomb. That would destabilize not only the region, but the world. And so there is a great effort in understanding their nuclear program and in disrupting it. The information I reviewed several days prior to the explosion report was that the Iranian intelligence ministry, through a source allegedly a spy in the Mossad, had learned that Israel and certain other countries are involved in major covert operation to take place, because as they believe, as reported, that Iran had crossed the red line, and then in order to avoid the larger scale war, which will engulf the region, this would be the first option. And so the Iranians know it, they are preparing for it. And so if this indeed took place, it's very well an act of sabotage. And obviously, the first one to be blamed by the regime would be Israel.
Mm-hmm. Now, there are all sorts of consequences. I personally believe, I don't want to digress too much into Syria, but I think Assad may well hold on to power now in Syria. And we all know, surely, that for some years, Assad was reaching out to the West. He wanted to leave the radical bloc, but he was terrified of Iranian influence, understandably. If Iran is destabilized and Assad does remain in power, it could change the nature of the region.
Oh, absolutely. And if you follow the statements by the Iranian officials, they've said over and over and over again that the fall of Assad is their red line. Actually, Assad is a hostage to the regime in Iran.
Yep.
And the Quds forces and the Guards and the Iranian intelligence run the show along with the Syrian intelligence in Syria, in protecting Assad, in all the crimes that they're committing in Syria. So Syria is a front line for the regime in Iran. Either the fall of Assad or destabilization in Iran on the regime would then create an environment which would be only beneficial for world peace. And we've got to understand that this regime has been working on the nuclear program for over a decade. And so we cannot wait anymore. Them acquiring the nuclear bomb, being capable of arming their missiles with such warheads in collaboration with North Korea and others would be disastrous, not only for the region, but for the world.
What would it take? I mean, I know, you know far better than I do. Of course, the Iranian people generally are not supportive of the regime. They've tried to change it. It's been very difficult for them. Now they have a president who doesn't, in the United States, not very willing to support them, it seems. But what would it take within the country to mobilize the mass of people? Would it take more explosions? Would it take, I don't know, the assassination of a leader for them to feel they can actually rise up and win?
Well, that's a great question. And as you know, and as everybody knows, a golden opportunity presented itself in 2009 when millions came out and they didn't get the support of the West, especially the US. So now the Iranian people are a hopeless nation, leaderless nation. They don't know who to turn to. They've lost thousands, are in prisons across Iran. Many are getting executed on a daily basis. I think right now, as a last effort, and I've said this for a long time, the US and other countries in the West need to come out and support the Iranian people, help provide that leadership for the movement, give them hope that there could be a better future, that they will support that better future and support the opposition. And then we might have a chance of overthrowing this regime. Other than that, it's going to be war one way or the other, want it or not, because the regime is aggressive, the regime is going to get the bomb, and they're going to use the bomb. And so we are left with very few options at this juncture.
Goodness me, fascinating stuff. It really is. Thank you so very much indeed.
Thanks so much for having me. God bless.